It was supposed to be a simple flight, a routine trip for a black CEO who had spent decades building an empire from scratch. Yet, moments after handing over his ticket, he was stopped and told he couldn't sit in first class. The words hit harder than any turbulence. Not allowed. The staff's eyes were cold, dismissive, almost rehearsed. Every instinct screamed that this wasn't just about a seat. It was about being invisible, being denied the respect his success demanded. He looked around at the empty first-class cabin, the expensive leather seats reserved for him by right. He wondered, how does a world that praises diversity still treat him like an outsider? What would it take for someone like him to be seen? Watch until the end to find out. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. For years, Marcus Thompson had risen to the top of the corporate ladder, becoming one of the youngest black CEOs in his industry. He was known for his sharp mind, decisive leadership, and relentless drive. To outsiders, his life seemed perfect. A penthouse apartment overlooking the city, a private school for his children, and the kind of lifestyle most people only dreamed of. But beneath the polished exterior, Marcus carried the weight of being one of the few black leaders in a world still steeped in bias. He had grown used to subtle slights, to being questioned where his white peers were unquestioned, to having to prove himself twice as hard. This trip was meant to be a celebration, closing a billion-dollar deal, a milestone he had worked for his entire life. He arrived at the airport, confident and composed, his schedule tight. He handed his first-class ticket to the attendant, expecting nothing more than a polite nod and a swift escort to his seat. But what happened next would shake the very foundations of the airline and test his patience, ingenuity, and power in a way he could never have imagined. The attendant glanced at Marcus, then back at the boarding pass, her expression unreadable. "I'm sorry, sir, first class is full," she said flatly. Marcus blinked, surprised. He was holding a confirmed first-class ticket printed only an hour before. "There must be a mistake," he said calmly. But the attendant shook her head. Other passengers, primarily white, some visibly hesitant, moved past him without a second glance. A pit formed in Marcus's stomach. He felt the familiar sting of recognition. This wasn't just an error. This was a pattern he had encountered too many times to ignore. He tried to reason, to appeal to authority. Still, each step forward met with resistance, excuses, and polite denials that carried the weight of discrimination. His phone buzzed. Messages from his team. Boarding now. Time was slipping. The injustice of being barred from his rightful place boiled inside him. He could feel the energy in the cabin shift, the whispers of other passengers, the uncomfortable glances, the invisible wall he could not cross. Finally, a bold, almost impulsive thought struck him. He tapped his laptop 3 times, sending a single command. Screens across the airline's network flickered. Flight statuses blinked red. Every departure, every gate, every flight queued for takeoff froze. One by one, 173 planes were grounded in a matter of minutes. The cabin fell silent. Eyes widened. Gasps echoed. His message was clear. Ignore injustice, and there will be consequences. Security rushed toward him. The staff's faces turned pale. Airline executives called emergency meetings from distant offices. Marcus remained seated, calm yet fierce, his presence commanding the room. He had not raised his voice, not shouted. His actions spoke louder than words ever could. The passengers stared, some terrified, some awestruck. Headlines were already forming in real time on social media. Black CEO grounds flights over discrimination incident. Cameras captured the tension, the authority of the airline clashing with the resolve of a man who refused to be invisible. In that moment, Marcus realized the magnitude of his choice. He had disrupted lives, yes, but also demanded accountability. He had exposed a system that silently condoned racial bias while claiming equality. The world was watching, waiting, and he had made them see. By the end of the day, Marcus had achieved more than a seat in first class. The airline issued a public apology, promising systemic changes, staff training, and a full review of discriminatory practices. For Marcus, it was not about personal victory. It was about forcing institutions to confront uncomfortable truths, to acknowledge what had long been ignored. His story went viral, sparking discussions about racial injustice in corporate spaces, airlines, and beyond. People saw not just a black man denied his seat, but a symbol of resistance, courage, and empowerment. He reminded the world that change does not come quietly. It comes from those who dare to disrupt, to demand respect, and to turn everyday injustices into lessons for millions. Marcus returned to his life, knowing he had made a difference, but the question lingered. How many more systems silently perpetuate bias, waiting for someone to challenge them finally? Which city and country are you watching this from? Are you ready to see the world differently? Take care.